So let's talk episode 1 of Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. Now that I've had a chance to watch the episode subtitled, I have a lot more context this time than I did in my previous analysis for when I watched it live. But I think my overall opinion has improved, so to speak, from my initial review because, I said I couldn't really get too much on any of what was going on or any of the characters without proper context of subtitles. But overall, I do like the general setup here because with the main character, Reiji, I did say that he does seem charismatic, and that opinion does hold, I will say. But also, he does have that heroic stoicism that I like. So, he's not too serious and he's not too goofy either. Like, he strikes a good balance between the two, if that makes sense. Like, he seems like, a guy. And I think I said that too. But it follows his story. So him and his crew, they work for the documentation, the documentation facility, was it? Not facility, but the department. So the documentation department of the Galactic Federation Police or whatever. So I'm still learning names here, so forgive me. But so the documentation is really just a guise for what they actually do and what he actually does as Space Sheriff Gavan. And so we're introduced to him like he's stopping, a gang of thugs on his Earth. And then, they're arrested. He's brought up to his ship. And then they have a distress call from another Earth in another universe, because the way that all this works is that, so like there's multiple Earths in what's called a cosmic layer. And I guess like this is kind of like their territory, or like the realm that they defend or cover. But this is from an Earth that they haven't been to yet. So how should I say this? So like they're able to, I guess, travel the multiverse and visit these different Earths, and they wound up on this pink Earth, but like it's only pink because of the what they call, is it the Gavarian particles, or I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm still learning names here. But let's see. So Gavarian triggers is the henshin weapon. You have the emo gears. So it was like negative, like emo energy or whatever that was causing this Earth to be pink. And when they get down to the planet, it's like this whole civil war between this cult leading an uprising against the police of that planet. And the guy's sister is trying to convince him to, stop his whole crusade or whatever. I mean, the stuff in the middle is kind of slow, I will say. But, it still provides, like, good context as to, like, the kind of person Reiji is. Like, he's not just a police officer. Like, he's a person first. Like, we see him and his friends helping, the injured. And that's where they also meet Gavan Bushido. And they don't know that he's Bushido yet, but he's kind of like standing there in the background observing them. Like, oh, there's more police and there's more Federation police in the universe. But also, I will comment on the end fight. So the way that the emo gears work, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I guess our thug of the week has like a negative emo gear, and this is where our monsters of the week come from. And we get our first fight, our first like official fight with our monster of the week. And I think that was kind of the highlight of the episode, because that's where we get a lot of the like good action, so to speak, where we get his first henshin sequence, and it shows us kind of like in the original series, it takes us through like the whole henshin process. Like they call it Jochaku, which translates to electroplate. That's how I've always known it. But it just takes us through the whole process, kind of like the old series. But yeah, like once that's kind of squared away and, things have kind of calmed down, that's where Bushido steps in again, and he reveals himself as another space sheriff. So that's where the episode ends. And overall, just like I said, I really did like the setup here, because it doesn't reveal too much, but also gives us just enough to keep us coming back for the next week. And some negatives I'd say is I like the look of the show in general, because everything from like the suit designs and even the ship interiors, I'll say, all look great. It's just like the emo gears with their very cartoonish looking faces. It really clashes with the look of everything else. And I know I'm not the only one that has said this, but it's an opinion that I highly agree with. My only hope is that it doesn't affect the tone too much. Like, I hope they kind of keep that aspect of it at bay. Like, I just don't want it to be too goofy, because like that's just not the vibe that the show is kind of set up, you know? Another thing I will say is that I really like the soundtrack that they have here. Like, it's got kind of like this funk inspiration to it, from the theme song that we hear in the end fight, and even that one insert song we hear in the beginning. So I look forward to seeing what other music that this show may give us. But yeah, overall, those are my, I guess, final thoughts on the first episode of Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. That is such a long title. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And I can't say that I'll be reviewing the show weekly, because I'm already reviewing Zets, so I'm not sure if I can really handle 2 shows at once. But for right now, I may just give like, quarterly or just like occasional updates on how I think the series is going thus far. Anyway, you guys take care.